want it further back. No, it's fine. We got corn stuff.
Let's see. Testing. Oh, good. Well, welcome everyone to the second service, those that are here and those that are online on Facebook and YouTube. We are so glad to be with all of you. It's a crisp fall day. If you're here on site, I advise you to sit in the sun. We have options, shade and sun. I think I recommend the sun. It's very sunny in most of the space. Let us begin with the affirmation that we often say together. It goes like this if you're new. It is good to be. It is good to be here. It is so good to be here together. And after the pandemic, especially, and we're still only emerging from it, as we well know, with the Delta variant, we do not take it for granted to be able to be here and online together. So let us say, it is good to be. It is good to be here. It is so good to be here together. And now I would love to invite Steve Runyon, our Sunday associate, to come forward and share a few announcements.
Thank you, Allison. And Lori Cross is going to help with trying to light the chalice here. We weren't so successful in the first service, but we'll see how it goes this time. Welcome to the Morristown UU Fellowship. We are a community of open minds, loving hearts, and helping hands. We are so glad you are here. If you are a visitor, then we want you to know that next week there is a visitors orientation and tour following both services here on the grounds, and a visitors orientation on tour online at 1:30 p.m. You can sign up by emailing welcome@muuf.org and sharing your name and which tour, or just go over to the welcome table today and sign up, or go directly to Reverend Allison. Yesterday, we hosted the UU Faith Action Conference online, which included about 100 representatives from our congregations around the state. We want you to know that there are two new groups. One, a youth caucus of the UU Faith Action, and two, a reparations task force engaging around the legislation coming before our state legislature. Remember, Charles Laughlin, our former intern, is the executive director. If you'd like to be involved with those new task forces or immigration justice, ending gun violence, criminal justice reform, or environmental justice, you can reach out to member Tom Moran, or you can email care@muff.org. That's an email we use for caring for members who are in need and caring for the world too. Our offering today will be split 50-50 with the UU Ministry for Earth. Please be generous. And now I invite the Ferns.
I'm right here, Steve.
To come forward with a quick, important invitation.
Sorry for sneaking up behind you. Hi, everyone. I'm Paul Firm. A quick announcement to say some of you came in and wondered what happened in the parking lot. Well, that is indeed a fall fair. So come and enjoy the fall fair with us today. The topic of the campaign is the Deeper Roots, Wider Wings Moving Forward Capital Campaign. And you'll see 6 booths. Enjoy them all. Marvelous mansion projects, the great outdoors, the Triple Crown, bathrooms, kitchen, and classrooms. I like that one. Our Green Earth Ministry, the Alan Mindachu Family Hall, and the booth that I'm in, money, money, money. Come talk to me. Put a stone on the pile. Enjoy the fair. There's hot cider, which, believe me, in an hour you'll need. So see you soon. Thanks.
Thank you, Paul. And now we'll have our chalice lighting. We're going to have our reading in unison. So let's all join together. Love is the spirit of this fellowship, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
And I'd love to thank Beth Wilson, who is our volunteer today leading music, while Stearns Matthews, our music director, has a little break. Thank you, Beth. And we will begin with our opening song. The words are in the order of service you were handed. And also, if you're online, the words are on muuf.org/Sunday services. There's a PDF there, or you can look in the email I sent this morning.
Gonna keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Never turning back. And never turning back. Gonna keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Never turning back. Never turning back. Sigamos adelante, siempre adelante, siempre adelante, sin volver atrás, sin volver atrás. Gonna keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Never turning back. Never turning back.
And do this from down here. I got a story for everyone today that I read with the children at the first service, and there's some children, I don't know, they just ran off on me, but I'm going to tell the story anyway. They're in good hands, don't worry. About this girl named Jennifer, and we'll hear about her and her struggle, and then I'm going to tell you how it all ties into what we're doing today. Jennifer Keelan may be small, but her voice was mighty. She rides a horse speeding up from walk to trot. Jennifer loves to go fast, but she knows soon she'll have less time for writing since she finally is old enough to go to school. She can't wait to make new friends. This is a true story, by the way, even though it's a children's book. She's ready to go. The school is not far. Jennifer rolls outside and down the sidewalk to the corner, but stop. A 4-inch curve is a cliff to someone who uses a wheelchair. Her grandpa eases her wheelchair over the curb. Though the drop jolts Jennifer, she makes it into the building. But stop. The school says Jennifer doesn't belong because she uses a wheelchair. Instead, Jennifer and her mom find a different school that says she can attend kindergarten, but only for part of each day when lunch is over. And when Jennifer rolls in each day, everyone is already busy. She has to figure out what's going on and how to join in. And since most kids have never met someone who uses a wheelchair, her classmates are confused and even a little afraid. You'll never be one of them, they say. One of us, they say. Jennifer knows they're wrong. She's just a friend waiting to happen. But how do you change someone's mind? She's not sure, but she's not about to give up. And Jennifer and her family hear about activists who are working to make sure that people with disabilities like her have access to public spaces like schools. They want to know more, so they attend a strategy meeting. And Jennifer has never seen anything like it. The room is full of grown-ups with all sorts of disabilities. Some use wheelchairs and some use canes, and none of them are sitting around waiting for things to change. They're shouting, laughing, and planning a big protest to get wheelchair lifts on buses. And they turn to Jennifer. Do you want to come? Yes, she says. She wants to go. Jennifer never let me start this over again. Downtown, Jennifer rolls to the microphone and tells her story. She leads marchers through the states chanting, "The people united will never be defeated." You guys say that with me? The people united. I had all the kids doing it before. It was very awesome. Anyway, it feels good to speak up for what she believes in. She can't wait to go do it again. She's raring to go. So she protests in Phoenix and rolls through the streets in San Francisco and waves signs in Montreal. And then demonstrations don't always change people's minds, but Jennifer is used to that. And even when her neighborhood school finally agrees that she can attend, she and her classmates with disabilities aren't allowed to eat in the cafeteria with everyone else. And that hurts, but she keeps going. Working with other activists revs her up. Yet she can't help but noticing that she and her sister are usually the only kids out there raising their voices. Still, she can't leave all the protesting to grown-ups. She knows firsthand that children with disabilities get ignored too. So she keeps speaking up. And when Jennifer's 8 activists proposed a new law called the Americans with Disabilities Act, or the ADA, and the law insists schools, governments, and businesses make room for all people, including those with disabilities. Ironically, it excludes places of worship like churches and synagogues. Jennifer feels like dancing. If it passes, it means sidewalks get curb cuts and buildings with ramps in addition to steps and elevators with braille panels. It means Jennifer and her classmates with disabilities can finally go to the cafeteria with everyone else for lunch. And Jennifer and her family watch the news for updates on the ADA, but the reports never mention it. She switches off the TV in frustration, wishing she could change reporters' minds on what's worth talking about. Instead, the Keelans get their updates about the ADA when activist friends call. But it's bad news. Members of Congress say, see if this sounds familiar, it'll be too complicated and too expensive and just not worth it. Some things never change, huh? Since the news station is ignoring people with disabilities, Jennifer and her friends are determined to find another way to make Congress hear her voices. It's go time. Her family buys plane tickets to Washington, D.C. And as they march down Pennsylvania Avenue, Jennifer has never shouted louder. What do we want? The ADA. Okay, so let's do it. What do we want? When do we want it? Good job. Good job, UUs. Sorry. Finally, they reach the U.S. Capitol, but stop. A mountain of steps block Jennifer and other people from using their wheelchairs from the building where Congress makes laws. Grown-ups slide out of their wheelchairs and start pulling themselves up the steps. And they will make sure members of Congress know they are here. Jennifer's heart races. This is what she's been shouting about. I want to climb the stairs, she says. But stop. The grown-ups think she's too young. You can't do it. But Jennifer knows it's not just about her. It's about her friends at school who are shut out of the cafeteria at lunch, and it's about millions of other kids that never left who get stopped at every turn. Jennifer wants to speak up for all kids with disabilities who aren't there. I need to climb the steps, she says. She slides out of her wheelchair and scoots along the sidewalk to the bottom of the stairway and puts her hands on the first step. She hauls herself up, and tiny bits of dirt and rock dig into her skin, and she drags herself up another step. The crowd roars. Reporters surround them with cameras and microphones and recording their gutsy climb. I'll take all night if I have to, she vows. And she keeps heaving and hauling and dragging herself up the stairs. She keeps going all the way to the top. And pictures of Jennifer climbing the steps flash around the world. Reporters start talking about the ADA, and the members of Congress see the news and listen to the activists, and finally, they pass the ADA. And laws like the ADA won't change overnight. Entrances have to be rebuilt, sidewalks redesigned, buses re-engineered. Slowest of all, minds have to change. So Jennifer will continue shouting and waving signs and organizing and explaining. She will continue fighting for what she knows is right. Jennifer has places to go, and nothing will stop her now. So we are starting our building campaign, as I explained to the children, because one of the things we want to do in building a new addition is including everyone, including those with disabilities. And I don't know, do you guys know if we had someone who was in a wheelchair, a child, do you think they could come to our RE classes right now? Or an adult? Well, yeah. Or an adult to our RE classes upstairs? They can't, because our building's very old and doesn't have the ability to do that. And that's a way in which we have created kind of a system of oppression within our own place, a group who tries to not do that. So we're building a building that will have classrooms that will allow kids to come in and adults to roll in or use a cane, however they need to get in. And so we're launching that, and we're doing a lot of those things with our UU principles in mind. And so when you go over to the fair, they'll tell you all about that. Alison will tell you more about that. Paul will tell you more about that. But it starts with the kids. And one of the things that I do want you guys to share is that last year we had the kids help design the playground. They drew up drawings. And that's where we got what we have for playground space in this back. We listened to the children. We listened to you all as well. So hopefully we can all raise our voices together and build a more just space here at MUF and in the world.
And it is our offering 50%, which goes to support the works and ministries of our fellowship, and 50% which we share this week with UU Ministry for Earth. And you can give in the basket that the ushers are going to be handing around. You can also give, whether you're here or online, you can give online via our website, and you can also give by text. Thank you for your generosity. It makes a difference. And one other note, if you decided to sit in the shade and now you've changed your mind, feel free to move. While we're outdoors, we're a little more casual. So don't feel beholden to your spot. If you're too hot in the sun on a hot day, feel free to move into the shade. Both work.
We will build this house with the strength of our arms, with the love of our neighbors. We will build this house. We will build this house as a shelter from all harm. With the open door of justice, we will build this house. A house of warmth, a house just right. A house to keep away the darkest night. A house of hope, a house of peace, a house where all within may safely sleep. We will build this house with the strength of our arms, with the love of our neighbors. We will build this house. We will build this house as a shelter from all harm, with the open door of strength of our arms, with the love of our neighbors, we will build this house. We will build this house as a shelter from all harm. With the open door of justice, we will build this house. It seems so simple, it seems so sweet. A roof above you, enough food to eat. In this richest nation, on this world of cares, how much do we need to have enough to share? We will build this house with the strength of our arms, with the love of our neighbors. We will build this house. We will build this house as a shelter from all harm. With the open door of justice, we will build this house.
Beautiful. Chris and Mary Jo, thank you. I invite you all into a moment of prayer and meditation. Spirit of life, Spirit of abundant love and abundant light, the light of a crisp fall day. Pour over this people and through us, that we may be the builders of a house for all people. In this time of emerging from the pandemic, that we will be creative enough to create sanctuaries under the sky and online. When we return indoors, the better to appreciate the technology and the warmth therein. We will build this house, a house for all people, regardless of their ability, a place where people can roll in and stroll in, where we learn how to expand our message of a liberating love in ways that include a greater number of people. We will build this house, a house for religious pluralism, a house where no one is told that their beliefs aren't good enough. A house where theists and agnostics and atheists sit side by side, rolling up their sleeves, ready to engage in the work of building the beloved community, ready to show up and care for one another in the hospital and to teach one another's children on Sunday mornings and beyond. We will build this house, a beacon here on a hill in Morris County that reaches all around the nearby towns and all across the globe to Japan and Hong Kong and Washington State and all kinds of places. A beacon of hope and life abundant, a beacon that is inviting us all to imagine a world that is more just, more whole, and more holy, that each one of us has a role in constructing. All of these and so many others are our prayers, our yearnings, and this morning's meditations. Amen, and blessed be, and may it be so. And now I invite you to look at the order of service or to just listen to the beautiful words written by Daryl Courtley and will be led by our musicians. Daryl wrote this piece, an original piece, a member of the fellowship, in honor of the 8th principle, which we are talking about our commitments to today. Will you rise in body or in spirit and hum or sing or just bask in these aspirational words? So a milestone just came in. And just know that if you're new, people pass milestones forward. We have a section right before the prayer, but we missed this one and it just came in. So I do want to share it. John Minihane, member, has been in the Tally-Ho nursing home in Boonton for the last 2 weeks, and it would be a wonderful thing to send cards, and we will make sure that our care team finds out and that he also gets visits. Tom McGinnis, thank you for sharing, and if anyone has a question, you can email Tom or talk to him. He's right here following the service. On the first Sunday in June, I shared with you that 66 of our over 1,000 Unitarian Universalist congregations around the country had already passed the newly proposed 8th UU principle. And here are the words of that principle. All of our principles have this preface. We, the member congregations of the Unitarian Universalist Association, covenant to affirm and promote, so this would be 8, journeying towards spiritual wholeness by working to build a diverse, multicultural, beloved community by our actions that accountably dismantle racism and other oppressions in ourselves and our institutions. On that day, Sunday, June 6th, we voted to adopt the 8th principle for ourselves, and we were not alone. In fact, between now and then, over these last 4 months, now we're up to 122 congregations that have adopted it, so it has basically doubled in number. There is a growing movement in our faith to name our personal, our communal, and our societal commitment to ground our lives in the sacred, moral work of building the beloved community. We proclaim our commitment to learn how to speak and act in ways that honor diversity and advance the collective liberation of our fellow Unitarian Universalists and of all of humanity. This isn't the first time that we've articulated and staked a new ethical claim on our spiritual lives. In the 80s, some may remember, and I have memories from when I was a little girl, we added our commitment to the web of life by adopting a 7th principle at the UUA General Assembly. This one goes like this. We covenant to affirm and promote respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. Ultimately, wording as found in the 8th principle about dismantling racism and other oppressions and building the beloved community will need to go before our National General Assembly and be added to Article 2 of the UUA bylaws to hold that same revered place in our UU covenant, the 7 principles that guide our lives. The 8th Principle Project is a grassroots movement that we have joined to show our support for that critical healing change. By the way, the 8th Principle movement was born right here in our region, the Central East region, which includes Metro New York all the way down to Washington, D.C., that area, and over all the way to Ohio. In some ways, it's not surprising that it arose here, both because of the tireless work of a respected African-American elder, a member at All Souls in Washington, D.C., and a lifelong UU named Paula Cole Jones. And also because many of us live, work, and go to school in diverse communities in this area of the country. For example, our Morris School District, the district right here, is less than 50% white and has had a legal and ethical commitment to integration and to diversity for 50 years now. One of my predecessors, the Reverend Clark Olson, actually chaired what they called a lay committee to help consult with the educators in the school to really have the entire community support what it meant to have a truly integrated school. And Stephen Wiley, for a member of the fellowship who's now passed away, was one of the lawyers that actually helped wage that legal battle. I'm grateful for the opportunity to serve on the Equity and Inclusion Alliance here in the school district as a community leader and to represent our values. And I'm grateful that my child has the chance to learn and grow in the fertile soil of a school where when they talk about racism, the children are able to share insights from their perspectives in ways that promote a meaningful exchange. And I want to share with you that I have been changed for the better through all the opportunities I've had with diverse Unitarian Universalists to talk about racism and how to become a more effective anti-racist collection of communities and institutions in our faith. And beloved conversations, which some of our members participated through Meadville Lombard last year, is just one example of where you might be able to participate in such a meaningful exchange. Eventually, our whole country will be like the schools here in Morristown and Morris Township. White people will no longer be in the majority. Now, that makes some people anxious and some angry. On January 6th of this year, we saw people storm the Capitol building who felt that they were somehow on a mission to take back our country. But our country is not a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant country, as I heard some of them share on the news, and it never was. Those sadly European ancestors who arrived on these shores misused the Bible to advance the doctrine of discovery, a terrible religious understanding sanctioned by different people, including the Pope at one time, which claimed that God brought people to these shores and gave them the land as if it was predestined. This is a morally corrupt view. There were already numerous indigenous ancestors who had been here for centuries, who lived off the land and whose religion taught them to be in right relationship with the earth, our mother, who is sacred. A religious understanding that is heartful. Some of the earliest congregations planted in the Northeast, especially in the environs of New England, ultimately became Unitarian Universalist. The story of Europeans who forced, coerced, or even accidentally, quote unquote, motivated indigenous peoples to move and make way or die is sadly part of our story. And the story of indigenous people who were displaced and who died is also our story, told by Unitarian Universalists who are indigenous to this land, and a story that we must all share. Unitarian Universalism is also not just a faith made up of white people with a Protestant background or even a Catholic background, even though that may be the case for the majority. Yet, like the story of our country, that is changing. We, the Morristown UU Fellowship, and the wider UU faith are and have been for a long while a multiracial, religiously plural, and socioeconomically diverse community. We are people located all along the disability continuum. We are heterosexual, lesbian, gay, bisexual, and all along the sexuality continuum. We are boys, men, women, girls, trans, and non-binary. We are multicultural and share in a multiplicity of traditions, languages, music, and stories. We are so many expressions of humanity. We are a community of communities. We have spiritual work to do to continue to truly open our religious tradition to the wisdom found in the growing diversity of who identifies as Unitarian Universalists. The eighth principle challenges us to reckon with our history and the promise we hold to become an anti-racist institution, and it goes beyond race. It invites us to dismantle all forms of oppression and to engage in practices of collective liberation. Let me name a couple of things connected to our aspirations and this week. On one hand, we have been ahead on some of the issues of collective liberation and inclusion, and on others, we've been more behind and are catching up. But in all of the issues, we are learning. You see, too often, the world out there posits that I need to be just for myself, rather than being for myself in terms of self-care, but being for the well-being of others who don't identify as I do. And this week I was speaking at a domestic violence event, and there was a man who kept shouting into the space of women sharing their stories. And at the end, he hurled at me, "Oh, you're part of that gay church." And I said, "I'm part of a congregation that welcomes folks who are heterosexual, gay, lesbian, bisexual, and all along the sexuality continuum." You see, he couldn't imagine beyond one thing, but we are many. That is who we are. And the second thing this week, I spent the whole week offering pastoral care to one of our African-American elders who speaks of her decades in this congregation as life-saving. She shares how arriving here was a homecoming and a salve in a moment when she desperately needed it. When she was hospitalized, she called for her pastor and her people to show up, and that's what we did. We went to her side. Occasionally, and this is a learning I want to offer, I'll hear some people in this community say or describe us as a white congregation. When you say that, you erase the experiences of the people of color, the children and the adults who are among us. We are multiracial. And yes, majority white right now, but we are not simply a white congregation. I invite us also, as the eighth principle does, to reflect expansively beyond race around the diversities that we already hold in our community, and also who we invite, welcome, and will become in the future. Our theme this year is Keep on Moving Forward, and we've added Sigamos Adelante en Español, and chosen a theme song that incorporates English and Spanish. And I'll tell you another quick story. When I was in Trenton advocating with Wind of the Spirit and others for widening access to driver's licenses, a woman asked me, "Your congregation, it seems like it reflects everything I believe and all the reasons that I am no longer in church. Would you be willing to host a service in Spanish for my friends and family who I believe could find a home there?" My heart leapt forward. "Sí, yes," but it is not mine to answer alone. What would we need to do to prepare to welcome and hold such a service? Are we ready for the changes that might entail? When would be the time to add such a service? Where do we begin? Maybe we begin with headsets that offer translation. We are beginning with some of our work for justice. We are one of the co-founders of Morris Area Together, and at all of our meetings, we offer Spanish translation. And frequently, Carol Ruiz, one of our members, is involved in the translating along with others. I wonder, did you know that about a third of the children in the Morris School District arrive speaking Spanish and later learn English? What will Morristown and the surrounding area be like 10, 20, and 50 years from now? And how will we grow to reflect that reality? What about people who are hearing impaired or visually impaired or deaf or blind? How accessible are our services, our religious education programs, our justice programs, here and online? Following the Jewish High Holiday services that we held on Zoom, someone asked me, could we please do a better job of closed captioning? It was a Unitarian Universalist who was coming in from Florida and is not participating in a congregation that is as religiously diverse. We are very diverse religiously. And she said, please, I'm longing to be here. And my soul has been fed tonight. And could you make it more possible for me to be included with closed captioning? One thing I hear people reflect occasionally when they come in, and just to think about these words, and I know people mean many different things. I've often heard people say, I came here to find people who think like me or are like me. What is the story behind those words? We even have a song, which I actually love this song. A member wrote it, which says, if you like our music, you can join our song. I know it's metaphorical, but I carry the pain of when I led a campus ministry group while working as an assistant minister at All Souls in New York. When those students came to the music director and shared they'd like to see some music that reflected their lived experience, sadly, that music director turned them down. We continued to meet at NYU, but they didn't want to come back. What if you don't like the music? What if it doesn't represent you? Are you welcome still? What if it was, if you like our movement, you can join our song or something else? Words matter. We need to think about what we're saying, and I just have to name that when people who've come from outside of the dominant culture come into the congregation, I've never heard them say, I came here to find people just like me. And we crave and honor diversity, so is that the best reflection of why we are really here? To be truly welcoming, we must open to the ways that we may be changed by new people. We must widen the we who decides who we are, what music we sing, what languages we speak, what traditions we honor. I absolutely loved the transformation that happened when a member of our worship team, Iraj Mohabalian, challenged us around what a sanctuary looks like. And we've been challenged during the pandemic in so many ways about what qualifies as a sanctuary. But he came to the worship arts team and came with this question: what are the symbols? What exists in our sanctuary that makes it a sacred space? And he shared that coming from Iran and out of a Muslim tradition, what was missing for him was a carpet, a rug, a woven fabric of beauty. And so we had this conversation, and after that conversation, we decided it was important to imagine a place for such a thing. And now, from Iraj's hometown, we have a beautiful woven rug right there in the front of our sanctuary, right on the chancel, right by our altar. When we truly honor our diversity and are willing to change and be changed by it, we grow ever closer to the beloved community. In word, in action, and in aspiration. Today, following the service, you'll be invited to go to some booths that talk about all kinds of positive changes that we are planting seeds for in our community, having to do with a new addition. And let me lift up two that I believe connect directly to the eighth principle. One is around sustainability and green design. Our Green Earth ministry put forth the fact that we wanted to keep this building behind me rather than demolish it and create something new, because keeping this building was the greenest thing we can do. Well, one of the projects is the roof to protect and conserve the building, and that's $400,000. And in the addition itself, we have about $500,000 of green design, and that is so that we can be mindful about caring for our earth and caring for this property to the next generation and the next generation and the next generation. Yes, we march in Washington for our Mother Earth, but we must also act for her right here. And second, accessibility and inclusion. We will now have a first floor addition with an accessible kitchen, an accessible fellowship hall, accessible classrooms, and an accessible gallery, and accessible entrance, and an accessible parking lot. And that is so critical. And the rooms are going to be designed with sound in mind so that people who have hearing challenges are able to exist more fully in them. And our bathrooms are being designed with the truth that there is not any longer a gender binary, girls and boys and women and men. And so we're designing bathrooms that include that perspective and also offer more privacy, which is great for families as well. Any parent, myself included, that's ever had to deal with a child's diaper will appreciate that. You see, when we actually create things with accessibility in mind, with sustainability in mind, it helps everyone. Every parent who's ever had a stroller appreciates a ramp. And the way that we're creating the campaign is participatory. We invite everyone at all levels of generosity to consider how they might be able to support this vision for 2025 for our property with your pledges. Again, we are building a beloved community that crosses race, class, gender identity, sexuality, that crosses religious divides even. And all are welcome to place the stones that will build this house. May our actions, may our words, and even our facilities shine a light on who we are and who we yet may become in the world. May it be so, friends. Will you join in singing our song by Mark Miller, Draw the Circle Wide? the wind wanted to help us draw the circle wide. That was the wind clapping. I just want you to know. Slapping the papers or clapping? I say clapping. So now we're going to kick off our fair with a short kickoff speech, just a 5-minute or so speech from Paul Firm. And I want to just say to the folks online, I'm going to meet you at 12:30 on our Zoom link and take you through the tents so you can ask your questions as well. And without further ado, Paul.
Thank you, Alison. Hi, my name is Paul Firm. I am honored to be working with Kathy Solu, who helped set up our fair today. I'm surprised she's not there holding the tents down, but they'll be there when we get there. And Shari Lowe is another co-chair. She's online with her grandchildren right now from Washington, D.C. So hi, Shari. And it is just wonderful to be here on this journey with the Reverend Alison Miller, with David, who helps us with our graphics and in so many ways, our staff, our board, our Gateways team, my wife, Helene, who's involved in all aspects of this project, I can assure you, and really all of you have supported us along the way. So today really is a milestone we wanted to share with you in the form of this fair, and it's really a big milestone in our journey. In the last month, there have been some amazing events of giving and generosity that really have changed the flavor of our campaign to deeper roots, wider wings, moving forward. So take a moment after the service, go enjoy the fall fair. We have hot cider, cupcakes, hot coffee, and visit the booths. There'll be folks there leading you through all the details, and you can really learn, discuss, and in my case, really marvel at some of the things that they're putting forward there. And I wanted to thank Laurent and really the entire board of trustees for giving us the space in our fall program here as we came back together after this long time online, and to really give us a priority. And of course, the big events of the last month in terms of generosity and giving have really supercharged our campaign. Jean Kraft is a new board member, and she wrote a very nice note to the campaign and to all of us. And she really evoked this idea of a journey. And indeed, what a journey with unexpected twists and turns over the last several years that we've had. With a couple steep hills or two, I remember this day in 2012. I was at the time your outgoing board president. It was our end of the year meeting, and we had a vote, and we had a huge standing ovation. And the standing ovation was because after years of discernment, we had decided to stay here, to preserve this mansion, to stay on these 5 acres and make the commitment to fix it up. And it was a hugely emotional time and a beautiful, beautiful day. And we started on that journey. So it was all that time ago. And then I remember in 2014, we had scoped out the project. We sort of were getting into focus, what it would mean, what it was going to look like. And I was again working with Alison. We had a president at that time, Nina, who was a development specialist, and she knew that one could do it, but you really had to put a good campaign together and recruit like an experienced capital campaign. So they called on this chemist, now, which I still laugh about, but I shouldn't laugh about it because really my journey here has been one from being kind of a shy person in a lab to someone who really finds power and a lot of enjoyment in helping give back to all the things that this place has given me, whether it's singing and a million things. And my wife and I always remember another story of pushing my mother-in-law from the nursing home up this ramp, and so she could cut paper with on one of our paper cutters. But they had moved the class upstairs, so we pushed her back home again. I think we got her some paper, but we knew that we really had to do some things to fix this place up. And so we're really honored to be on this journey with you. So that in 2018, we got back together to reassess where we were. There's a 4-year lapse there where there were some serious hills we had to climb to be able to start the construction in earnest. And we climbed those hills. And our determination was really inspiring. And it's so much so that Alison, the whole theme for the year became Deeper roots, wider wings, our resilience rising. And she really captured, and I think we all captured the resilience we were showing. It was just really a phenomenal year. And we raised the money. We built this amazing parking lot, which you were enjoying. But believe me, before some of you are new here, that was just a gravel parking lot with potholes, and it was a nightmare just to get in the winter. And this oval has been re-envisioned. And it's so beautiful here for us to enjoy this fall. And the playground out back. So we've done a lot. And in the fall of 2019, we had a ribbon cutting. It was a glorious day. And so it's just been an amazing time. And also in 2019, we started really fleshing out the details of the addition and all the features that Alison was just mentioning. And so those features you'll see, and they're really phenomenal. You can indeed build a building, but if you do it right, there's a lot of things that come with it. And green features, my wife Helene is an HVAC energy conservation specialist. So you can do it, but you need to really keep your eye on what you're doing and raise the funds needed. So a lot of really great work happened in 2019. And then, of course, we've talked all year about what happened in January, February of 2020, where we knew we had to just stop and take a pause and start helping each other get through a difficult time. And so that has been, perhaps to me, the most special part of this journey, that we know when to take a step back and take care of each other, get online, help Alison get online, and start, projecting ourselves. So it's been a really special journey with lots of twists and turns, right? So a month ago, Jihan Chu and the whole Chu family, they literally flew from Hong Kong to, after evaluating our project and being so impressed with what we were doing, they chose to invest $2 million of money in this space. And so what a phenomenal gift. And one of their dear hopes is that they could give back and honor us, but also that it would give us the energy we needed to finish the project. And I dare say, we have a lot of energy around the project right now. So thank you to the Chews. They had many wonderful things to share when they were with us that day. There were a dozen members of the family here. And it was really, we were also touched by their kindness and their appreciation. And really the sentiment from them was that it was their honor to be here, their honor to give back and to thank the fellowship for all the things they've done for them and their family and for the world. And I can think of no better sentiment for our campaign than the gift that day and that thought. He did hope and challenge us that his gift would indeed give us the energy to finish fundraising and finish the project, get the building built and move on. So today, let's celebrate this new energy, deeper roots, wider wings, and moving forward. Thanks again, David and Alison, for capturing the energy with the theme of this year. I think it's just perfect. We do have that one more hill to climb. We need to raise $2 million more to finish the building. But really, with our construction timeline, we have from now until 2025 to raise the money. The building will happen in the middle, but we'll have loans if needed to get us there. And so we definitely have a plan to get there. And on behalf of the campaign team, I just have one more announcement, and this is always a fun announcement to make because the members have indeed been inspired over the last month. And so between September 12th and October 12th, we've raised $606,000 for the campaign. So thank you. I mean, that's just amazing. So we're almost a third of the way there, and we are moving quickly. We'll give you updates periodically or frequently, should I say. So we're almost a third of the way there for our $8 million project, which is what in the end it will be. But we'll be really proud of our project. So from today, our remaining need is $1.4 million. I have to keep doing the math here. So we're now at a $1.4 million goal. And Jihan left us with one more thought and hope, which I loved, and Alison already mentioned it, which he said, I'm just one stone in the pile, and I hope that everyone at this phase participates again and puts one more stone in the pile. So I have a pile of rocks. I want you to come put a pile on the rocks while you're eating your cupcakes and doing... and hot cider. And so please help us by putting your stone on the pile. Thank you so much. It's really great to see everyone here today, and we look forward to the online tour as well.
That's it. Yay! Well, and I'll just add this. We raised our first 2.3 with people giving, hundreds of dollars if that's what they were able to give, or giving six figures. So really, it takes all of us. And I like to say it this way. Yes, the $2 million gift builds the hall, but we all know that, like any nonprofit, when it comes down to the end, every dollar makes a difference. So we want to be green, and a low flow flush toilet, right? That costs, it makes like a few $100s difference. So, you could be responsible for something small, but when you think about how many times it gets flushed, something very large. Or you could be responsible for a lot more. But every dollar, it truly makes a difference. And thank you, Paul, and thank you, everyone. Let us go forth into this glorious fall day. May the wind continue to clap and the sun continue to shine. And for those online, join me at 12:30 and I'll take you on the tour. And let us indeed, stone by stone, build a house of worship for all. Blessed be, and go in peace.
Yes.
Although we were
Yeah, no, perfect.